I want somebody to explain to me the Cody Rhodes hate. I seen a post where a guy said he doesn't understand why Cody Rhodes is being pushed the way he is, and it had like 10,000 likes. The guy said in the 4 year span, Cody Rhodes has won two Royal Rumbles and like four heavyweight championships. But what people not realizing is this isn't Cody Rhodes' first 4 years in the WWE and it's happening for him or to him. This is after year 17 in the wrestling business, I believe. Cody Rhodes, when he first got introduced to the WWE, he was semi pushed. Then he had the gimmick with the mask because he broke his nose or whatever. And then what did they do? They tried to embarrass him because Vince didn't like Dusty Rhodes allegedly. So when Dusty Rhodes came from, remember this is deeper than surface level. Oh, Cody Rhodes is just getting pushed. This is deeper, people. So you got to go back in time. Before Dusty Rhodes went to WWE, he was with NWA. He was with WCW. You know what I mean? Listen, or WCCW, but he was an NWA guy. Dusty Rhodes was a territory guy. Vince McMahon never liked him. That's why when Dusty Rhodes came to WWE, what did Vince do? He gave him the polka dot guy gimmick. Made him wear the polka dots, do all the dancing and silly stuff to embarrass him. Why Dusty Rhodes decided to go along with it? I have no idea why some of these wrestlers accept some of these moronic characters that they got to portray. So then what happens? Fast forward. Dusty Rhodes' son. Who is Dusty Rhodes' son? Goldust. What happened? Remember, he was in WCW at first. And if you look at him when he was at WCW, he looked the part. He looked like a future heavyweight champion, world champion. He left WCW. What did he do? What did Goldust do when he left WCW? See, look at that. I can't even start calling him Goldust. When he left WCW, what did he do? He went to WWF, which was WWE, which was WWF at the time, and he allowed Vince to convince him to portray what? A weird character by the name of Goldust. And he did it his whole WWE career, people, to the point where he was he was made a mockery and a fool, an embarrassment to his last name, a complete embarrassment to his last name, people. Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes. When he was in Dusty Rhodes was a heck of a wrestler. And then his son was a heck of a wrestler. Dustin Rhodes was a heck of a wrestler. But he went to WWE. And like I said, Vince turned him into Goldust. Made him an embarrassment of his family. Fast forward. You fast forward. And what do you have? You got Cody Rhodes now, the youngest son. And what happens? He starts out good, but then the eventual he got to be made a mockery of because he's Dusty Rhodes' son. They turned Cody Rhodes into Stardust, an offshoot of Goldust, and just like his brother and his father, he decided to go along with it and do it, which is crazy when you think of it. He decided, I'm going to go along with it. He decided, I'm going to be this character after years of just being Cody Rhodes, being a good mid-card wrestler that had future potential of being in the world title picture. So then what happened? He gets fired, goes to the Indies, wrestles in AAA, refines itself, redefines itself, refines itself, goes to NWA, wrestles all over the Indies, then becomes friends with the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega. They become friends with a billionaire. They had the option. Let's just go back. Let's go to Let's all go to WWE, which is what Cody Rhodes wanted. But they said no. Let's start up our own company, and they did. But Cody Rhodes was always the one who wanted to go back to WWE, the same place that embarrassed him and made him become Stardust. Fast forward a few years later, Cody Rhodes leaves AEW, goes back to WWE because WWE, Vince McMahon, the same guy who embarrassed his father, the same guy who embarrassed his brother, the same guy who embarrassed him, generational embarrassment, the same guy flew to Cody Rhodes' home and begged him to come back to WWE because he seen how big of a star he had become outside of WWE without WWE's backing or creative. And what he could have been from the jump had he been booked that way, but he wasn't because of Vince's grudge against his father. So Cody Rhodes lands back in WWE. And in his first 4 years, he wins the Royal Rumble twice. He's the Intercontinental Champion. He's a world champion multiple times. And people say, well, he rarely loses clean. When he does lose, it's almost some type of interference or something involved. But people, y'all got to realize something. This man went through a humiliation ritual as a character named Stardust. The literal character name was Stardust as a mockery to him and the offshoot of his brother, Goldust. Think about that. Your father and your brother. And it's crazy that when you think about it, right? Dusty Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes, father and son, were both highly successful, respectful wrestlers before they got to WWE. Once they got to WWE, the respect was no longer there like it was or should have been, and they were made to become characters. Characters, literal jesters for the amusement of others. And the same thing happened to Cody Rhodes after a strong start, nonetheless. But then look at the reverse of what happened to him. The reverse of what happened to his brother and his father. They were big time wrestlers outside of WWE and became jokes when they got to WWE. He was a mid-card wrestler that became a joke in WWE, went to the Indies, became a top wrestler. Now he's back in WWE as a top wrestler. Isn't it crazy? So they made a fool out of him. Then he left. Then they begged him to come back. That's where he always wanted to be. That's where he grew up around. That's where he grew up. He always wanted to be there. And it didn't matter how much they embarrassed him. He was going to always do whatever he could to get back there. Because to some people, it don't care. It don't matter. Some people, they'll do anything to be where they feel like they wanted to be their entire life. They'll do anything. They'll accept anything. They'll go through anything. But you got to also understand, Cody Rhodes learned in that time in WWE when they made him Stardust, he learned. He looked, he sat back and he watched and he understood. This is a politics game. You got to play the politics. You got to be a backstage politician in this game because wins and losses are scripted. So when wins and losses are scripted, being a politician is the best thing you can have in your favor. See, if we talking about the NBA, NFL, MLB, now I believe is rigged, but everybody doesn't know it's rigged. But with wrestling, professional wrestling, everybody knows it's rigged. Everybody knows it's scripted. Everybody, and I'm talking when I say everybody, I mean all the wrestlers know. The referees know, the ring announcers know, the commentary team know. Everybody knows the outcome. Everybody knows the outcome of these matches. So with that being said, why wouldn't you try to do everything in your power to position yourself to win as much as you can and succeed as much as you can while taking limited damage in the process? That's genius. If you went through what that man went through and what his family went through, he had to watch his father and brother be made jokes out of, only to then become the same joke that his father and brother was. And you think he's not going to do everything he can to stay on top? Y'all really think this man is not going to politic backstage to stay on top? And not only does he not really have to politic, because he has the look, he has the ring attire, he has the walk into the ring attire, he has everything. You don't think that man is sitting back? You don't think that man sat back and said before he went back to WWE, if I ever go back, if I ever go back, they'll never do me like they did my brother and my father, or they did me my first go round there. This dude is a second generation star. Second generation, people. It's in his bloodline. Listen, you know how Roman Reigns, the Usos, Zilla, or all these Samoans, the bloodline. What do you think Cody Rhodes is? And his father was a bigger star than all theirs. You don't think he was sitting back looking at that? Come on now, look at the top guy. Look at the top 3 guys in WWE right now. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and Randy Orton. What do they all have in common, people? They all are second generation stars. Second or third generation stars. That lineage with WWE matters. Guys who have no lineage, you see them always flustering at the top or in the mid card, never seeming to quite be able to stay at the top. Except for if you're an outlier, like John Cena or Stone Cold. But everybody else, people, the top guys currently, all are second and third generation stars. It just took Cody Rhodes a little longer to get there. But once they seen the value in him, you can't let a guy like that slide down to the mid card. You can't let a second, third generation guy with family history lose to guys with no family history in the business that are not second and third generation stars. You can't let guys like that lose to those type of guys. It's the way of the business. Again, unless you're an outlier like John Cena, Stone Cold. You know what I mean? Even The Undertaker, as much as he was at the top, he was never truly the guy. It's always been first, second, and third. It's always been second and third generation stars that has always been like the key guys. But you also got to remember, being second and third generation stars gives you that extra boost. It gives you that extra boost in the eyes of the fans, because there's always going to be pictures, there's always going to be video, there's always going to be footage of you when you were little as a kid enjoying wrestling that fans can look back at and connect to and say, I remember when I was that age and how much I love wrestling. And this guy's father was a wrestler, or his grandfather was a wrestler. That means something to wrestling fans, to be able to connect to somebody who was a family member or a son or a nephew of somebody from the past that they watched when they were growing up. So there's an automatic sentimental attachment to it or to that person. And Cody Rhodes is a second, third generation star, people. He has the last name Rhodes, dating back to NWA, WCCW. He gonna do whatever he can to stay at the top. And he should, because he's that good. The American dream, the American nightmare. Cody Rhodes, people. Come on, what are we talking about? This guy was meant to be a star. And you reward stars with wins after wins after wins. You don't not reward them, kick them to the mid card, and have them in roadblock, none going, nowhere going storylines. No, you keep them at the top of the mountain because that's how the business survives. That's how the business thrives. And when people realize that and they realize the origins and the history of Cody Rhodes and why you will never see him do the things he did when or accept the losses he lost or the embarrassment he suffered when he was Stardust or that he had to endure when his brother was Goldust or his father was the Polka Dot Man. Come on, y'all. This is generational. This is generational. Cody knows that. And it's time you all realize that as well. And once you realize that, you'll understand Cody Rhodes ain't going nowhere. He right where he want to be, and he politic good enough to stay where he want to be. And that's at the top of the mountain. And he going to be at the top of that mountain when it's over. He going to be at the top of that mountain when he retired. And rightfully so. Generational, people. Remember that word when you talk about Cody Rhodes. Remember that word when you think about Cody Rhodes. It's generational. Everything, the trauma, the bonds, the politics, all within WWE and its history with him and his family. It's generational. And once that's ingrained in your minds, y'all get understanding of the history, you'll understand him.